risotto. It's a family favourite of ours. And actually, if you prep some of the ingredients on your prep day or before you get home from work, it's actually not that hard to put together. I don't do a lot of stirring. I'm not a risotto stirrer. Apologies to anyone who stirring is essential. But I sort of just dump it, do a few steps and then dump it into the pot and let it boil away and absorb the stock. So today we're doing, as I said, I've prepped the chicken, I've sliced it against the grain. That's really important to get a tender chicken meat. And I've cut up the chorizo. I've got Arborio rice, good quality Arborio. I also use Calasparra or Carnaroli rice. It's a never fail rice, this type of rice. You can overcook it and it's very forgiving. So I don't use Arborio in a plastic packet. If I buy Arborio, it has to be in a box. I've got chicken stock, a bit of white wine, and I'm having asparagus in my risotto tonight, but you can have whatever veggies suit you and your family. So let's get cooking. Okay, so first up, we're going to fry off the chorizo. Splash of olive oil. Throw in the chorizo and give it a stir around. You don't have to fully cook this. It's just to release the oils from the sausage. It gives the risotto a flavour base. I'll show you close here. You can see the oil's releasing. That oil is yummy flavour. Alright, that's where I take it to. Now I'm just going to pop it in the bowl and set it aside. Next in is the asparagus for just a little fry off. Again, that's done. Set it aside. A little bit more oil. A fair amount of butter. And then we're going to sweat off the onions. I'm going to turn the heat right down now. I don't want to burn the butter, although the oil will help stop the butter from burning. But to sweat off the onions, I'm going to do it at a very low heat. Throw in the onion. Alright, I'm going to leave the onion now for a little while until it's cooked. Okay, so while the onions are sweating off, I'm going to poach the chicken in the stock, and then I'm going to use the hot stock when I start to add the rice. So I'm just going to add the chicken. And allow it to poach for a few minutes. Okay, so to help the onions sweat down to being very soft, I'm just going to add a bit of baking paper. I've crumpled it up and then opened it up, and I'm just going to lay it on top. It just means that the steam stays in underneath the baking paper and the onions don't dry out and start to brown or burn. Alright, so those onions have softened down really nicely. Now I'm going to turn the heat back up, and I am going to add the rice. butter and the onion coat the rice. All right, now that's sizzling again, I'm going to add the white wine. So allow that to come to the boil and simmer for about 2 minutes. So the chicken stock is now boiling. I'm just turning the heat right down. All right, it's been simmering for a couple of minutes. The alcohol's cooked off. The smell coming from there is great. I'm going to now turn off the heat, pour the stock and pour in just the stock. Leave the chicken behind in the pot. Give it a stir. Let that cook. Go and have a glass of wine. Turn it down to a medium heat and leave it to cook. Okay, so at this stage you can see that a lot of the moisture and the stock has been absorbed into the rice, and there's just a thin layer of stock, the thickened stock at the top. It's at this stage that I'm going to add the chicken and the chorizo. Make sure you grab all of that yummy chorizo oil goodness. And the chicken. And stir that through the rice and the stock. I'm just going to check for doneness of the rice and seasoning. So the rice still has a little bit of a hard centre, so it does need a little more cooking. And the seasoning is fine, doesn't need any salt at all. Alright, so at this stage now I'm going to add in the asparagus, give it a stir through. Then I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to sprinkle some parmesan over the top. And I'm going to leave it there to sit for 5 minutes. So there we go, chicken chorizo risotto. I hope you didn't find it too hard or overwhelming in that process, because I actually don't think risotto is that hard to cook. Once you know the steps to make the good flavour base, you're right to go. I really hope you give it a go, and I hope you enjoy.